Hello everyone, so today we are here in Polish-Japanese Academy of Information Technology to get to know more information about master's degree in computer science. And today my guest is Viktoria. Viktoria, please briefly tell about yourself, a few sentences.
Hi, my name is Viktoria. I'm getting my master's degree at this university where I'm also leading a student club. And today we're going to discuss my experience.
Cool. Today is a very important topic for me because I also want to decide at the end of the video, should I go to master's degree here or not really? And first, my question will be, for how long do we study here master's degree? Is it 2 years or more? How is it going?
Well, that depends on your previous experience. If you got your bachelor's here in computer science, then it's just 3 semesters for you. But in case you did some other degree, for example, information management at this university or got your degree at another university, it will be 4 semesters because during the first semester you will do some catching up on the classes people had on the bachelor's degree here.
1 semester is not so much, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's pretty challenging, to be honest, if your background is not computer science.
What about you? Was it your background or no?
Not really. Actually, my bachelor's degree is in business management, but I did a coding course before I started this university. So I had some experience mostly in front end with some experience in back end, not much, but at least something. And actually that experience helped me a lot with some classes I had during my master's, because we had to develop this one full stack project to get a good grade, and it was pretty easy for me because I already had experience working with Node.js, MongoDB, front-end stuff, so yeah, it was useful.
Right. What about master's degree here? Was it useful or not really? How is it going for you? You entered this university, and do you think that you actually needed the master's degree as a knowledge or more as an additional European diploma?
Well, I think I entered it for both because the knowledge from some coding course is not enough. While I do believe that you can improve your skills yourself, but still going to university is useful, especially if you're from non-computer science background. So I really believe that I got more like theory skills, more deep knowledge on some topics. For example, databases. I had a lot of database related classes, and I actually appreciate learning that information because it helps to get the general idea how different areas of computer science are working, because it was not covered that well in the bootcamp, unfortunately.
Nice. I wanted also to ask about the specialization, because you just mentioned databases is my specialization right now in bachelor's degree, and I'm just wondering, how do you pick specialization on master's degree? Is it coming from the beginning you're picking it, or somewhere in the middle of the studies? Because, you know, for us, for example, when we study bachelor degree, it's somewhere in the middle, like on 2nd year, we're choosing like more narrow direction. What about masters?
Well, actually, when you apply, you have to choose it, but as far as I know, you can change your mind in the beginning of the 2nd semester, but here I mean the 4th semester degree. Because if you're starting the 3rd semester, I think at the beginning you need to make a choice.
Okay.
So it can be changed. I knew some people who changed it, and they're fine.
Can you tell us more, what kind of directions do they provide?
So from what I know, we only have 2 on my year. Actually, there are 4 from what I've seen on the website. So my specialization focuses on business processes, databases, and software engineering. And the other one is data science. I know that there is also some multimedia-related specialization, but unfortunately, it did not survive on our year of studies, as far as I know. And there is another one, I think, related to mobile development, which also, from what I know, did not survive because a groupmate who chose it ended up on my specialization. Maybe only one person chose it, so they decided
to move him, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's also unfair, kind of. Because you're picking one direction, you want to study it, but like at the end, you're ending up with something completely else, right? Especially
Yeah.
if it is mobile apps and then you're in multimedia, or on the contrary, right?
But would you want to be the only person in each class that is specialization related?
It's
Probably not.
perfect. I would love to actually. Like you have just one-to-one with teacher, you just go straight forward to your goal, study everything. Like it's perfect. But at the same time, I understand that how is it for teachers? This is horrible, right?
Yeah, but
So-
also for students, because on masters there are a lot of project-based classes where to get a grade you need to complete a team project, and
Oh.
teams can be pretty big on some classes, so doing it alone would be pretty challenging.
Interesting. How many projects in such case you had, for example, approximately during all your studies?
Well,
I mean, masters.
it depends on the class, but I think last semester pretty much every class had some team project, maybe except like one class.
Can you tell us a little bit more about one of the project, or which one was more fascinating for you?
Well, we had this IT startups class where we were kind of building a startup. So we had to come up with an idea and do all the steps like presentation, planning, all those like Excel files with numbers. It was pretty realistic because our teacher actually had experience with startups. That's like his main job.
Cool.
It was a cool experience.
But what about, did you code it also, or just, no, just planning, right?
yeah,
Mostly?
no,
Managing and planning,
Yeah,
right?
it was more like planning.
Okay, I see. Did you have any projects which is with coding exactly? No?
Yes, of course. What did we have? For example, on NoSQL class, the full stack project I mentioned, we had to create some project. It didn't have to be full stack. Maybe you will not get as good grade as you would for full stack project, but you had to use one of the non-SQL databases. I picked MongoDB because I just had experience with it and I wanted to do something I'm comfortable with. So I created this website. My thesis, I think I should mention it before, my thesis is based on Raspberry Pi. So for that project, I created a website that is like a learning platform. And the unique feature is that you can pick the components you have for the Raspberry Pi with filters, and it will filter the tutorials. Because to be honest, it's a huge problem when you're searching tutorials online. Even if you find some tutorial that you like, you're always missing some component, and it gets really annoying.
How's it going with diploma at all? Is it hard to write or not really?
Well, I'm still in the process, so I cannot give the answer just
Okay,
yet,
yeah,
because I
understand.
picked a pretty challenging topic. I have to build some prototype of a smart home with Raspberry Pi and create an application where I will be able to manage this smart home and also write a research paper on this. But it's fun. And
Your supervisor helps you. Is it going well?
I mean, he's cool. I really like the guy. I was fighting for him for like 2 months. Yeah,
Fight for the supervisor.
but sometimes I do not get feedback when I wish I would.
Okay. Well, understandable pretty much.
Yeah, but at least his jokes are the best.
Jokes?
Yeah.
Cool. Such a feature we emphasize in the teachers right now.
I actually think you might know him.
Who is it?
Tomasz Pickevich. He teaches PRI, BIT, lectures, maybe something else.
I know.
The guy with funny t-shirts.
Yes, that's what was in my mind, but I decided I shouldn't speak it up. But yeah, correct. Coming back to our topics, diploma work, yes. So I also wanted to ask you about studies itself. Do you find some subjects extra hard, or on the contrary, some subjects which are maybe not needed for you? How's it going? Do you like the studies itself? I just want to understand what's going on during these like 3-4 semesters.
Well, there are multiple subjects just thrown into like the whole picture that I really don't get why they're that important. For example, we had this puzzle class. I don't remember exact name, but it was an online class where we had to just solve some logic-related tasks. Maybe something that we used to do at school, I don't know, at some math class. It was similar vibe. I don't really get why we need it on masters. They probably just needed to fill up the time with something. And the disappointment about this subject was the test. It was online, but the time was so limited, you just don't have enough time to read the whole task. And more than not enough time to solve it. So the requirements when it comes to tests are kind of strict sometimes, which I don't get. I know that a lot of young teachers also don't support it, like writing certain things on paper. It just makes no sense.
It does. I think it does. Depends in what subject.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, in general.
But sometimes when you have to like draw some diagrams, and the problem with paper, if you did not do it right the first way, you cannot really move it around. So by the time you finish the task, it's such a mess that you are just worried if the teacher will actually understand what's the final solution.
Okay, I see the point. Because I was thinking maybe it's some coding stuff or something, but if it comes to diagrams, I would agree for sure. Even if you use pencil and you can erase it easily, sorry, at the end it still will be a mess. So, and plus you have to move usually the stuff, so you can't do it on a paper in computer much easier, correct? But I think just some of the teachers who are like more adult, let's say, they just prefer this way because they got used to it. But I can understand, of course, the young generation, and I also support it.
Well, actually, I also did not enjoy writing some imaginary SQL on paper during the exam, but yeah,
we have what we have. Exactly. What about some subjects on the contrary that you really liked? Do you have something like this?
Yes, I guess I do. I mean, the IT startups, even though there weren't that much IT startups, we talked about startups in general, but we discussed some nice ideas like the general process of how it's going. What else? The NoSQL databases were actually cool. We learned about a bunch of them, built a fun project that I actually enjoyed. There was one elective that I used to hate at the moment I had it. It was the most challenging class of that semester. It was advanced modeling, the diagrams I mentioned. I think that it really improved my skills when it comes to databases. In the end, I enjoyed. I'm happy that I was fighting for not getting an ITN. I got pretty nice grades for the exam, but at the moment it was really challenging. Maybe the paper part, because actually during the tutorials we did it on computers and it was fine. We had an amazing teacher, but the test papers where you get, I don't even know, maybe like 5 huge pages with tasks, and you have to draw some diagram on each of those. And also some theory questions that you weren't prepared for. They were somewhere in presentations, but you are worried about more complicated stuff when studying, and then you get some theory questions and you lose all the points there.
You should be always prepared for everything as MAC. Yeah, it's impossible, but yeah. I also wanted to ask about amount of lectures and tutorials. Like, do you remember how many lectures and tutorials do you have during the week, for example? Because I want to understand, is it possible to combine like work and studies together? How is it going?
Well, I think that for people who actually got their bachelor's degree here in computer science, it is possible because you already have a lot of skills that will help you on master's. And you can get exemptions from maybe not that many, but I think each semester there is some class, at least one, where you can get exemption either from like the whole course or at least half of the course. For example, the project management class, if you had the subject during bachelor's, you can get exemption from half of the master subject because the other half is different information. But yeah, what else? Also, the cybersecurity related class I have right now, people who had it on bachelor's get the full exemption.
But I'm just wondering, in such case, if you have this exemption and you do not study some part of a subject, do you pay same amount or no?
I guess yes, as far as I know. Also, same.
Unfair.
Like if you have a language certificate of the certain level and you can just get an exemption based on that, I think you still have to pay for the class.
Really?
From what I know, I'm not exactly sure because I never had those exemptions. Unfortunately, my language certificate is more than expired for that, even though the level I think matches the required one. But I think people still pay the same amount.
I'll
I'm
try
not
to
sure.
verify this information because it's pretty interesting, you know?
Yeah.
And at the same time, just I want to understand what kind of knowledge will I receive if I will go to master's degree. Like, will there be something new actually after I finished here bachelor's or not really? Because can you say that it's some only small amount of knowledge or it's actually a huge plus that you can just power yourself more with this knowledge or not really?
Well, I only had a semester of bachelor's classes, so based on that experience, I think for me it is useful, at least for the databases part. But I don't know, for people who got the bachelor's here, it might not be that useful. So if you, for example, I have some friends who need the master's degree for some job they really want to get, and in that case, of course, it's a must-have. But if you already have some job you like, or you don't have those like specific goals about your job, I'm not exactly sure you should do it because it's quite expensive, let's be honest.
How much does it cost? Can you reveal the numbers?
Actually, it depends on your specific contract because I have a lot of group mates and we all have slightly different prices.
Approximate.
I mean, 20-something thousand a year
Per year or semester?
per year.
20,000.
I think, yeah, the first year from my situation is cheaper, like 4,000 cheaper or something. I don't remember exact numbers because I paid a long time ago for the whole year, but it's 20-something.
Okay.
I can even look it up later in the agreement and we can add the subtitles.
That's a good point. So in such case, people will see here what is the amount should be paid.
Yeah, but also ITNs, you should consider that. I was so lucky.
Not to have them, just.
Yeah, I was so lucky to never actually get them, even though I got close a couple of times. But I have group mates who actually got those. It's expensive.
Do you know the prices or no?
I think if you're doing the in-person one and you fail the tutorial, it's 2,000 something. If it's online mode, it's like 1,400, I guess. And if it's just a lecture, 800, if they did not change the prices. Because I'm not exactly sure that's what it says in my contract.
Prices are becoming more different and different because like I'm just comparing from the beginning when I started study here and right now I have, for example, my brother studied here also. The price difference huge and I'm just so surprised and I'm thinking, Jesus, probably I was so lucky still anyways, even because if you of course like counting this inflation and all the stuff, I still think that my studies was still like cheaper, kind of easier to go through. Let's go back to the topic. I wanted to ask about your studies difficulties. Like, is it hard to combine work and study? Because I'm thinking that on master's degree, majority of the people probably are working already, and they should combine it somehow. And maybe you have like, I was thinking lectures and tutorials like after work, like after 5 at least, or something like that. Do you have it or no?
Well, most of the classes, sometimes there are situations, but most of the classes are after 15:45 at least. We usually have a few of those. Sometimes those are lectures that you can just not attend. For example, It's not that strict, actually. There are a lot of classes where, as long as you do the homework, team projects, and all that stuff, you don't have to always attend. But sometimes, unfortunately, there are teachers who will not care that you have a job. It's sad.
That's very sad, very sad.
Yeah, but mostly it's like after 5 p.m., so I guess it works with a job.
Great, that's great. Because I also, for example, I had a situation on Bachelor even degree that I'm coming to the teacher and saying that can we just, can I switch the group or do something because I have a problem that I can't combine my work and studies schedules. But we don't have any lectures or tutorials at this time that I need. So you have to do it somehow anyways, right? For yourself to decide, to pick.
Relatable, because last semester I actually had a collision of an elective class and a foreign language class. And there aren't that many foreign language groups for like my semester. So it had to be figured out ourselves, because even if we do complain, I was actually afraid that I will be just thrown into some low-level group. And I really don't want that. And the elective...
It will be just easy, no? Easy mark.
Yeah, but
Fine,
like,
let's
if
go.
I already pay so much, why just waste time on easy work? I want to actually learn something for that money.
You also mentioned that you have online lectures, right?
Sometimes.
Is it often or not really? Like in percentage, how many?
Well, it depends on teachers, because some do the recording. They allow to join sometimes online if you're stuck at work. I guess maybe I can say half of the teachers last semester. This semester it's mostly online. This is my last semester, so we have lower amount of classes because we're supposed to work on our thesis. So most of the classes are online or were switched to online because we talked to the teacher. Last semester, I think we had maybe 2 classes where there was an online option, but the attendance was like really strict. Only 1 class on Monday and 1 on Tuesday, I guess. That's it. But for my specialization and my electives, people with different specialization and different electives might have had a completely different situation, so can't promise anything.
Also, I know that you are living in a student house. I just wanted to get to know more information about it. I don't know, you're currently still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you please tell more, because it's very interesting option, and I didn't know that you have it for master's degree, and we actually have this student report, which is, I would say it's pretty expensive, but still it's a very nice option because you have all your group mates probably there, all people with whom you always can interact, ask anything, right? Collaborate on the projects. So how it has happened at all that you found it, the place there?
Well, it is actually promoted on our university website. That was how I found it. But to be honest, I don't think any of my group mates are living there. People I talked to, like some of my friends from different years of studies, yes. But my group mates, there are people who are much older than I am. There are people who have like 5 kids and stuff. So they live at home. Or just people who have some pets, and those unfortunately are not allowed in the dorm. So they rent apartments. But yeah, I found it on the university website, and they do their social media really nice. That's where I got more information on how the life is there. I actually participate in their social media. Sometimes I create content for them. Well, I guess it's a nice experience because you get to meet a lot of people from different countries who study at different universities, different specialization degrees and stuff. So it's a fun experience. They organize different events like movie nights, some parties where you get to meet those people. There are really amazing study rooms where you can just come and study. And the motivation to study there is much higher than at home, because I sometimes study at this room and there is this girl. I don't really know her, but I think she's getting some like medical degree based on the books she's carrying, but when she's studying there the whole day with those books, I don't know, it just gives me motivation to also work hard, so that's why I often go there.
How much does it cost?
Well, the single room is 3,000, around that price. Maybe they will change prices for the new year,
Yeah.
which they usually do. Other rooms, you can check the website. They're cheaper. If you live with another person, there are rooms for 2 people, rooms for a couple, and room for 4 people where you have your own bedroom, but the rest of the apartment is shared.
Do you know the lowest and like highest maybe prices?
Maybe I think the lowest would be like 1,400, if I'm correct. And the highest, I mean, actually, my price might be the highest since it's a single room.
Yeah.
Because some studio apartment for 2 people would be like, I think 4,000, but you split it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty manageable, I guess. Depends on people.
But you know, the cost is totally same as just to rent some flat in such case. But you just have lots of additional stuff, which I think pretty good option to go as for a student especially.
Yeah, because we have security. If something breaks on its own without your help, they will fix it. You just scan QR code, you write a message that I have this problem, and that's it. That's not your problem anymore. They will take care of it. Also, we have a gym where you can go like 24 hours, 7 days a week, anytime you want.
For free.
Yeah, it's all included. That's why the price might be this high, but it's actually nice. They clean like the common areas really often. We have a common kitchen where we have ovens, microwaves, all that stuff. So I guess maybe it's worth it. And the location is pretty nice. It's not that far from university. This one, some other universities, I know there are a few in the area. I don't remember the names, but
Please, after this video, just give me the link. I will attach it to the video at the bottom.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that, I think it will be very useful for people who want to study here and like searching for something to live and at the same time collaborate with others, right?
I think that both student depot dorms are like maybe 30, 40 minutes away. Depends on what transport option you choose, but yeah, not that far. On my bachelor's degree, I had to travel 1.5 hours one way.
Oh my.
Don't recommend.
Don't recommend, of course. Cool. Also wanted to ask you about here, what do you receive kind of from the master's degree? What does it give it to you? Why exactly you decided to like choose to go here, and why exactly you picked Polish-Japanese? Because there are so many universities here, so many opportunities, I would say. Like Polytechnica also propose pretty good conditions, right? Pretty good studies, I would say. Why you made said choice?
Well, I wasn't actually planning after I started learning to code. Before, I actually did plan to get a master's, but after I was not exactly sure. But then I was just like, I didn't really get that much of student life experience during my bachelor studies because it was mostly online for different reasons. And I don't know, it was just not the vibe. I didn't really enjoy it because actually it's a funny story. I applied for something different, but the group was so small, they forced us to switch to a more popular degree. So yeah, we were disappointed from the start. So I wanted to just have a new experience, and also I was sure this time that computer science is what I want to do. This is what I'm interested in. I just wanted to be around people approximately my age at least, because on the coding courses, we also had team projects there. There were like a bunch of guys in their like late 30s, not the vibe. And here I just wanted to meet people, get some more deeper knowledge on computer science, because on coding courses you don't get that much theory, and sometimes you really need it to get at least the general idea how things work.
Why Polish-Japanese?
I did not apply to any other place. I don't know, because I knew this girl. She wasn't studying the computer science actually here. She was doing some creative degree. I don't know the exact name, but new media arts something. and she had really nice reviews about this university. So I just applied. If I get here, I will do a master's degree. If I don't, I will just study myself. I was planning to dive deeper into the iOS development with Swift language. So, but I got accepted, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
And about Polytechnica, to be honest, I have some friends from that university. They complain that there are a lot of like theory, too much theory, and it also includes a lot of physics and some other classes we don't really have here.
Yeah, same as bachelors, like totally same, because when we compare here bachelor degree and Polytechnica, that's what everyone is emphasizing here, more practice, they are more theory. It's not bad, it's also very good actually to get to know to the science more. It just depends what you need. What do you want to do in the future and how deep you want to go, right?
Exactly. I actually heard last week during an event by GDG Warsaw from the Polytechnica people that if you want, for example, to become a professor, maybe Polytechnica is actually a better choice because it's more like theory, but if you want to just have a normal computer science job, maybe Polish-Japanese is better.
Yeah. But, you know, for example, me right now, sometimes I feel like I'm missing some of the knowledges, deep dive, like math and physics. I do miss it. Lots of people can say right now that why you need it or like why, how you will use it in your life, right? But currently, we are going in such directions with all this artificial intelligence that we have to.
Yeah,
we have to. Otherwise, you would be just a small person, right? But of course, everyone want to grow. Everyone want to improve themselves, go on step upper. What to do? Of course, deep dive. That would be my suggestion for me, myself, personally. All right. I also wanted to ask you about your directions. What do you think to do in the future? I know that you also lead of GDG. How do you think what you will do in next like 5 years maybe? Will you still lead this organization maybe somehow? Or maybe you will go into coding more or open your own business? Did you think about it?
Yeah, actually, I have a little bit of everything because, for example, I cannot leave the club if I don't have at least 1 year of studies left in this university. It's a university rule, not the GDG program, because if, for example, I took some extra time for thesis, GDG program would be fine with it, but university will not.
Okay.
So I will be happy to give this opportunity to some younger people who still have the time. We are already teaching some nice people as our replacements because we want them to get experience in advance and not panic when they got the job and they're like, what do I do now? Because we kind of had the situation, even though previously it's helped us a lot. They are amazing, but still some things like were missing because there are university rules that are just like university related. They are not described in any of those like GGG emails. And if you did not get this information from someone who has experience having a club in this university, you can lose your club. Because if you did not sign some documents at the beginning of the year, the club will not exist.
Oh, even like this?
Yeah, as far as...
You should have some documentation for all those stuff, I think, for future. It would be great.
Also with all those like budgets and stuff, it's complicated.
You see.
Yeah, so also with our amazing dev department lead, we're trying to build our business that is education related. We're still at the beginning of that long process, so I hope it works out. We have an amazing team with some of GGG people, and also I don't mind joining, for example, GGG Warsaw, because they are the coolest people, the most supportive team of people I've ever met. I always enjoy spending time with them, so
Hello
it's a
to
possibility.
all team. Yeah. Can you just say in one sentence what master's degree gives to you and what GDG gives to you, because this is two opportunities of university that you received, and what exactly does it give you to improve yourself?
Well, actually, university gave me GDG, and we were fighting a lot for some opportunities because this year we decided to include a lot of coding in the club that previously was not a part of this club. And we have an amazing mentor, Petr Gago, and he shared a lot of recordings of his classes because he teaches some like thesis-related class on the bachelors. We have it under a different name, so I'm not exactly sure. We can add it later. But he shared those materials, and he's an amazing teacher. He's really one of my favorite teachers because he explains in like such easy, understandable way. And his mentorship actually means a lot because we learned how to build a project like from zero ourselves, how to manage the whole team, and we have a pretty huge team, how to deal with databases, backend, frontend, all that stuff.
In your team?
Well, in the development team, I would say around 10, I'm not exactly sure, because we have multiple projects, so some work on those, some work on one of those. The general GDT team at the moment in PJATK is 21 people, as far as I remember. But we have other departments also.
So it's 3 departments, right?
Yeah, it's management, social media, and development.
Yeah, cool. And my final question that I want to ask is just what kind of advice would you give to people who, for example, like me right now, thinking to go to master's degree or not to go? I already finished, for example, the bachelor's here. Do you think it's really worth it? And what you maybe will advise for yourself, even when you were starting your master's degree, what would you say to yourself?
Well, to myself, if you are a switcher and you did a bachelor's in something else, please learn Java in advance. Because they tell you, we will teach you everything. And that's kind of true, but it just happens so fast. At the beginning, you're just like writing hello world with Java, but then you come to the class next week and it's some complicated stuff. And I had experience with other languages, but those were slightly different from Java. So it was complicated. Also, the writing code on paper thing, because on computer you kind of used to it. It helps you like fill out some stuff. But when you have a piece of empty paper, it's scary. Also, unfortunately, I had SKJ at the same time as PPJ. So one is like Java from zero, another one requires you to know Java already.
No, not the best choice to put it in one schedule parallel. Yeah.
If you really don't have any Java knowledge, that might be challenging.
So your advice will be just to start going with Java, right? Or
maybe
some other programming language.
Maybe some SQL also will help you, because while maybe you have enough time to learn it during the semester, but it's better to start earlier. You will not regret it.
Okay, cool.
Also, about like the general question, I think that it really depends on your goals in life. So, for example, if you want some job that requires a master's, then go for it. Or if you think about possibly teaching in the future, then of course, I guess it's useful. Or if you want deeper knowledge. But if you already have a job you're happy with and you think you can learn the additional skills yourself, maybe it's not an option for you because it's expensive, let's be honest.
It is. But still, just, to have additional knowledge, always good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be thinking about it. All right. Thank you very much in such case.
Thank you.
So thanks to all viewers, and see you next time. Bye.